Premier Dan Andrews has faced a grilling over his handling of the crisis, coming to blows with Karl Stefanovic on the Today Show this morning.
Why don't you explain, why don't you just level with people about what happened in quarantine? Exactly what went wrong there. You have to have the answers in order to fix it, so why don't you just tell people?
Well, that's exactly why there's an independent inquiry, Karl, and I don't think that...
No, but you know the answers already. You've fixed the breaches, presumably.
Well, Karl, the most important thing for us to do is to have not politicians investigating themselves, but to have a proper arm's-length process. We've got a retired judge doing that work. That's really important. And what will happen in the weeks and months ahead is that she will do her work, and it'll be without fear or favour, and that report will be there for all of us to look at. We've got to be focused on the future at this time. There'll be accountability. As I said, I'm the leader of the government and I accept responsibility for everything that happens right across our state. That's part of this job. And part of the responsibility I have is to make the tough calls. This is not about popularity, Karl. It's a pandemic. And I'm just not prepared to make the convenient choices or the easier choices when I know that will mean many, many people die.
Is the problem with the quarantine facilities fixed?
Yes, we've got Corrections Victoria staff in there, so the people who run our jails are
essentially... So you do know what went wrong with it?
Well, again, Karl, I haven't come on your program to have an argument with you. The key point here is we need an independent process.
And the spat between the two continued with this exchange.
You managed the bushfires, you managed the start of COVID, you did an incredible job, but it's difficult to recall, I think, a bigger political bungle than this. Your critics are calling for a change of leadership. Will you resign?
No, Karl, I'm about staying the course and getting this job done. And look, critics, that's fine. That's entirely a matter for them. Politics is a matter for them too. This is a pandemic, and I'm getting on with doing the job that I have to do.
Ben, this situation is obviously out of control. You mentioned earlier that it sounds like people are starting to turn on Dan Andrews.
Yeah, absolutely. I must admit it was only just a few weeks ago that we were talking about his approval rating being up and Victoria and the rest of Australia, suggesting that maybe his tighter restrictions was a great sign of leadership. But it didn't take much for reports to come out about how he may have dropped the ball for everyone to now be, like, even some of my friends who are the strongest Labor voters are even starting to turn. And I think I'm really disappointed. Am I stupid? But I can't work out. I don't feel that, I don't feel like that towards him. I look at him every day and the only thing I feel like doing is giving him a hug because he looks tired. And I think this man is trying to genuinely do his job. And then, is it just me or does it seem really rude? Or is it an opportunity for Karl Stefanovic to try and prove his worth on the Today Show? I don't know, but I thought that exchange seemed like a lot of bullshit, if you ask me.
Look, I think it's a fair point, Ben. It's really interesting. This is a pandemic. This is a situation no one has dealt with. The simple fact is we know that there was a problem with the way the security firm that was looking after the quarantine situation, it was a big failure. He's now admitted in there, whether he wanted to or not, that the ADF are now patrolling that and taking over the quarantine issues. Some would say they should have done that from the first point. But you know what? Hindsight's a wonderful thing, and when you're in opposition or you're a critic of a government, you can easily pick on what they've done right and wrong. This is unprecedented.
But people want a factual, but this is the thing, is like, at the end of the day, there are so many people at home that want the facts. And Karl Stefanovic, I think, was trying to get a morning TV moment and prove his worth by having that interaction with him. I would have just been gathering the facts. I wouldn't be saying things like, are you going to resign?
Although it is a fair question, Ben, people are asking that question because there are people with Victoria that had the harshest lockdown laws during this whole pandemic. And, it's gone to poo, basically. It's really, it's out of control. And so I think it is a legitimate question from Karl.
In some ways, yes. I guess, that is what people are saying. I just think that, you get an opportunity to talk to a politician on a morning show like that for just such a small period of time. I felt like there were some other questions. And also, it's interesting that Scott Morrison's saying, we're all together, we're all Australian and, we are the same as Victoria and all of that sort of stuff. And then, just to see that attack on him on television this morning, I I don't know. I just felt really disappointed.
It's the Ben, Rob and Robbo, Ben, Rob and Robbo Show.